welcome to the Otherz podcast. I'm your host, Steve Penny. Joining me, as always, in his new attire this week, Rafa. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. For those that don't end up seeing the video, you're wearing a fetching new hat from friend of the podcast, Heiser.
Yeah,
Looks
man.
good.
Yeah, man. It looks awesome, actually. Like the quality is very good. And shout out to him and shout out to Heiser, man.
Something a bit different this week. We're not talking about any tracks. We're going to do a bit more sneaker talk because it is going to be, I think, a big year for sneakers this year. I'm already spending an obscene amount of money on sneakers, much to the disapproval of my family. So we have a special guest to join us. It's Dennis, or maybe better known as SneakerDenn, on Instagram and YouTube and everywhere else. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. I think we have a lot of mutual connections across the various social media platforms, and I've seen your videos previously about, especially the Pharrell one, the kind of Pharrell's sneaker history, which people can check out on YouTube and link in the show notes. But then also recently saw you out Paris Fashion Week, living the dream. How was it out there?
Yeah. It's always good. I always, London is next door to Paris, and I actually grew up in Paris, so I have family and friends there. So I always kind of take the opportunity to go and be there for fashion weeks because it's just the ultimate melting pot of our culture. There's the complex cons and there's the fashion weeks, essentially, where everyone is in the same place at the same time, and there's energy and cool things going on. So yeah, and this time we had the Pharrell Nigo LV collab. Obviously, I was outside of the show. I wasn't in the show. I didn't manage to get in, but I was still always good to be around like what's going on and the people who were there as well. So
yeah, I did notice you got to try on some of the Buttersofts, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh.
What's your take on them? What's your feelings?
We're going straight into it.
Straight in.
Yeah, no, that was exciting because I think I'm one of very, very few people in the world to this day that has tried on a Buttersoft. I think so I spoke to Thibaut, the new designer, who used to work at Dior and who has always been we've always been very much in touch because he's a true sneaker culture, sneaker history lover as well, and he takes a lot of inspiration from the archives wherever he's worked, and his work at Dior has taken a lot of inspiration from old Dunks, old Jordans, old, a lot of classic models. And he got to LV a few months ago, and he hit me up and he was like, "Yo, like, what you got? What ice creams do you have? What do you have from Pharrell's archive?" And and that's a story that not a lot of people know because I think it's cool to share it here because I'm not. It's not like I'm posting it on Instagram or anything, and kind of, but he obviously, wanted to go into Pharrell's archive and build from that, so he bought 3 pairs from me as soon as he got to LV. He bought a Bape Roadster by Pharrell, the gold and green one, that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He got a boutique ice cream, the blue with the little dollar signs, the blue and red one with the little dollar signs, which is one of the best in my opinion. And he bought a board flip. So and the board flip was the blue, purple, and yellow.
Oh,
And basically he said like, I'm gonna dissect these and go from there, and when they posted the Buttersofts, um obviously it looks like a Cortez, like that's the kind of obvious
yeah.
first thing. But if you look at it and from different, like certain angles, you can see that certain proportions and just overall kind of feel of the sneaker is actually very similar to a board flip. The way the toe box is
Yeah.
round, the way the tongue goes up, like when you look at it from above and everything, and and a lot of little details like that. So to me, it is, it became uh, really cool immediately to see that, there has been a direct link, and that I played a part in it in a way. Not that I, but I know that I've been. Uh, I think Thibaut has always had appreciation and knowledge of this culture, but and this chapter of sneaker history and everything. But um, I got into board flips uh, just from my own research. I mean, like all of us did, I'm sure. Um, but when Pharrell, got to LV, I was like, okay, now it's gonna get interesting for me, because I do interact with these different people in the space where I sell to them, like I buy from them. Um, I speak with them as well, and like I was curious to see where this would go, and like it's super super exciting to now have like a really direct kind of link to this. So yeah, that was sick. But the Buttersoft, sorry for the
No,
sidetrack, but
that's
the
all good. All
No,
good.
no, man. Also information, man.
but the Buttersoft, it's Buttersoft. It's wow. It's super 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 plush, and like it's like a memory foam feel. It's very 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 soft. Like it's uh quite unique. You wouldn't think that a shoe would feel like that. It's very spongy. And Thibaut told me that it's made out of like the most premium possible, like kind of that type of leather where there's uh, almost like a sponge layer underneath, and that layer is very, you has a lot of give to it. Um, and that they really chose it carefully and everything. So it is actually butter soft, and I like the shape. I think it's obviously it's not for everybody, and it has this exaggerated look to it. But I think it's interesting to take a classic silhouette like the Cortez, add some little board flip hits to it, and just make it just a bit stand out more, and like more exaggerated, more just the unique. And I think it works. It's like the Cortez silhouette is like all these super classic silhouettes, like the Stan Smith or the Air Force One, Jordan 1, Converse. Like you, and I don't think the Cortez has been that much referenced as all the other ones.
True.
And I think it's interesting to do that. So I like it. Um, and yeah, basically, I think there's 5 pairs in the public right now. And I got the orange one, and how it happened is basically after the show, there was after the LV show, there was a kind of display that you probably saw with like the ice cream section as
Yeah.
well. They had
Yeah.
they had the Roadstas there. They had the SpongeBob Babestas and like a bunch of ice cream archive and everything. And they also had these Buttersoft, 5 colorways of the Buttersoft on display. The blue, the orange, the yellow, the green, and the black, I believe. And basically most people assumed that it was just display, but they were actually for sale.
Oh,
and one
wow.
of my friends who was at the show, just inquired, and they told them that the pairs are for sale, and that they're basically one of ones that will never release their,
Samples effectively, aren't
samples
they?
of
Yeah.
the show. Yeah.
Wow.
And he my homie he's not a reseller or anything, but he had the right instinct of being like, wait, really, like, this is a one of one, like, I'm buying this. So the retail was 1.5K. And
Of course.
and yeah, and he hit me up. He was like, yo, like, I got these, that's the story, like, do you think you can help me sell them? And just being able to access them and take pictures, try them on, flex them a little bit, and then help him move them and take a little, little cut on it.
Tiny,
Everybody
tiny
wins.
little commission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tiny, 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 tiny.
Wow.
So yeah, that was exciting. And then I asked Thibaut, like, what are the plans for the shoe and everything, and it's basically coming out in June. The silhouette is coming out in June, which is also really cool because, well, in the sense that we got to look at it 6 months before it releases, and it's really, right now, it's just nobody has it. And he confirmed that all these colorways that were available after the show are not coming out. So, you know, yeah,
Wow.
crazy. Yeah.
Amazing. And was it specifically the orange pair your friend got?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I read from somebody at LV that they're going to do those as friends and family only. So there'll never be
Hmm.
an orange pair available to
Yeah.
the general
Yeah.
public anywhere. So
Yeah.
even more of a better investment then.
Yeah. 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 So now they're with Big Boy Chang, if you're
Oh,
familiar.
nice. Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Moving in
Yeah.
high sneaker
Yeah.
circles.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And one question though, what was the time gap between you selling them the sneakers and then until the Paris Fashion Week?
Wait. So the sneaker, my homie, he got it at Paris Fashion Week after the
No, no,
show.
no. Sorry, but you told us that you sold them like some vapes and some ice creams, right?
Oh,
The
yes,
sneakers.
yes, yes. So that
Because
was
they are
in
going
yes,
to
yes,
analyze to kind of like
yes. So that was in September.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that
That's
was in
quite a
That's
short
kind
September.
of
lead time.
fast. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, that's why I think they only produced, samples, and
Yeah.
runway. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that the
It makes
pairs are just
sense.
not produced yet. Yeah.
And I've got to say, like, same thing as you said. As soon as I saw them, or images and leaks of them before the shows and things, I think myself and Rafa both sort of said, "Yeah, that looks like a Cortez has met a board flip on a night out, and they've had a few drinks together, and this is what they've produced." And
Yeah.
initially, and we were talking before we started recording that I'm not a fan of board flips and that kind of style. And when I first saw these, I was like, they're a bit too board flippy for me. They're a bit too sort of thick in certain places. But I have to say, since seeing them on feet, and especially your video as well, where you kind of went all the way around them with them on foot and showed the different sort of dimensions of them, they looked a lot more appealing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, the
Yeah.
exactly.
price is not appealing,
Wow.
Yeah.
but the shoe is very appealing in terms of how it
Yeah.
looks.
Yeah. 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 No, for sure. For
Sure.
sure. Like, if they want to gift me a pair, I'll be rocking that. But
Exactly. Yeah.
but I'm not spending that money on that, so I'm with you.
And are
Man.
you, because obviously you've been collecting for quite a while, you've amassed quite a collection, and as you say, you buy and sell stuff as well to other collectors. Do you kind of look at things more as an investment when you're looking to buy them? Or is there kind of like a personal kind of limit that you have on what you would pay for a pair? Or does it
Yeah.
depend specifically on the pair?
Yeah. It so there's all. there's kind of like three levels, three different ways that I buy sneakers. You know, there's the purely investment way where, you know, it doesn't really matter if it's my size at all or anything. It's like if it's something that it's always going to be something that interests me. You know, I've never sold a Panda Dunk or like any of this stuff. Like I've never touched any of these um, pairs. Like I've always been in the kind of about storytelling and unique pieces and everything. So to begin with, there's always a collectible approach, but it's just not collectible for me, you know. But it's like this is something unique, this is something valuable. So the one level is I'm just going to buy it as an investment because I believe that this is a good price and I will be able to flip it, basically. That's one aspect. The second aspect is I buy it because obviously it's a good price, but not necessarily to flip it straight away. But it's also not my size or anything. It's something that I enjoy owning for a while, but that I don't see as something that I'm gonna wear, and I know I eventually will let go of it. So a good example of that is the Colette ice cream that I got 6 months ago. I never thought that I would own that shoe. When I got the opportunity of getting it, like I was not going to pass on it, you know.
Yeah.
But it's also not something that I'm ever gonna wear. It's not my size. I bought it because it was a good price, because I believe I can sell it for more eventually. But I enjoy owning it, flexing it, telling its story, you know, displaying it at a pop-up or something like that. And then when the right time comes, whether I get a client for it, I get a good opportunity, or, you know, I'm just kind of not over it, but like I've enjoyed it enough for me to just move them on because I don't need to hold on to them because I don't wear them or anything. I will, you know. And a similar thing with the Flom dunks, for example. I never thought that I would own the original Flom. I managed to get it for an amazing price. I'm gonna hold on to it for a while just because I love that shoe so much, but eventually I'll sell it, you know. And then the final kind of way of buying shoes is just personal collection. And and I do have some limits where I don't I think my limit is like $600, you know, or I think that, yeah, the most I've ever spent on a personal sneaker is $600. And yeah, otherwise it's just I struggle with the idea of actually wearing something that I paid $1,000 for, you know.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
get
definitely.
it. Like I get it, and I, you know, I buy and sell a lot of those shoes, but just not for me to wear, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And what size
yeah.
were the Colettes you got, just out of interest?
The Colettes are 10.5
Okay.
US.
I think you got
Yeah.
them from somebody that I buy a lot of stuff from as well. And I remember him.
TK. I got it from TK.
Yeah. And which colorway was it? Because there's two, right?
Yeah, there's two. I got the golden pink one. Yeah.
Wow. That's my
Yeah,
which
man.
made grail, man.
That's the thing.
I know.
They're my grail. And when I went and stayed, I think I've told this story in the podcast before, but I went to stay at Dave's place in New York when I was in New York last. And he has,
Yeah, he has like
God
8
knows how many
of
pairs
them.
of them. I was sat on his bed
Ridiculous.
and he's pulling
Ridiculous.
them off of the wardrobe, throwing them at my head. He has so many pairs. And I'm
Asshole.
like batting off Colettes from
Yeah.
hitting me.
But
And it's
see,
just like
to
raining
me,
Colettes. Like, oh,
to me, like because I tried to buy some off him as well, you know, like, and I'm like, bro, you have 8 pairs. Like, I get it if you had 1, 2, or 3, but you don't need 8. Like, I'll
share
pay
the
for
wealth.
it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And honestly, I struggle to get it. Like, I don't understand why you need 8. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Show
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
One is
Shout
enough to
out
show
Dave,
off.
though. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, exactly.
I think yeah, Dave has that not hoarding mentality, but like when he collects something, he really goes in hard on it, and he wants every available
Yeah,
size, every available
yeah,
option, and to a certain extent hoards it. Because I've been in his apartment, I've seen the closet in the various storage places.
yeah,
There's a lot of just everything, but that's
yeah,
how he does his collecting. I guess we all do it in slightly different ways.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm. It's the same with the N.E.R.D dunks, right? I think he got like 4 pairs, something like that.
He's got a fair few of them, yeah,
yeah.
4 or 5
But
Yeah.
of them, I think.
NERDs, there's 1,050 pairs. Like
Yeah,
even if you
Yeah.
got 50 of them, you still barely have.
Yeah. True.
it's a smaller
Whereas
percentage.
Colette's, you
Yeah,
got 50.
yeah.
If you have
Ridiculous.
8, that's yeah, that's 16% of the total stock.
Yeah,
True.
you got to think that there's ever been, and they've been out nearly 20 years or whatever it is now, or over
Yeah.
20 years. So, yeah,
Yeah. I missed the opportunity of getting the green pair for a good price, which, man, I was so pissed. Because like I was talking with the seller, and when I got the golden and pink one, my next thing was like, okay, now I really need the green one, because the green
yeah.
one on its own, I didn't feel like I needed it that bad. But when I got the pink one, I was like, okay, I need to get the green one now. And just he kind of sold it while we were kind of negotiating. You know, anyways,
I
we
think
know
we've all
how
got
this
those
goes.
stories. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but the problem is then is you get that green pair, and then you're like, busy workshop pair. I
I
need one
got
of
the busy
them.
workshops. I got the
Oh,
busy
oh, yeah, I've
workshops.
actually seen in your video you've got them. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a slippery slope once you start getting
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for
into
sure.
those, which is why
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
trying to spend a little bit less this year. But let's go back a little bit because I wanted to, because you've mentioned board flips a few times, and I've seen you out there wearing board flips. Was that your kind of first introduction to kind of BBC ice cream, or were you more aware of them a bit before that with the kind of standard boutiques and stuff?
No, actually, yeah, it was my introduction to them and to ice creams. Well, yeah. And it came pretty late. I mean, I'm a relatively new sneakerhead in general. Like I got into sneakers 6 years ago, and got into the game really 5 years ago. So, I've been discovering and learning all these things like along the way in, really recent times, to be honest. And the ice creams, I think it was 3 years ago. I kind of The first pair that really stuck out to me was the watermelon board flip, the green and pink. I
Yeah.
think I saw it on, like Hidden and some people. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Wu Zhongwu, you probably are,
Hmm.
because he did a collab with N.E.R.D a couple years ago.
Yeah.
He had the green board flips, and I was like, whoa, like this shoe is sexy. and yeah, and then I just started digging, like I exactly what I did with dunks 5 years ago, um, and discovered that they were pretty slept on. You know, people, the mainstream and even pretty niche sneakerheads, unless they're ice cream heads, or unless they've been around in the 2000s, board flips aren't very known to people.
True.
So obviously, people don't really hunt them down because they don't even know they exist. So what I did was buy up every single board flip I could find. So and I wasn't posting them. So for like a good year, I was buying up board flips without posting them, because from personal experience, when I've posted those types of shoes that are slept on, then you got other like sellers and people, who kind of watch what I do, go
Yeah.
on eBay and buy whatever good deals are out there. So I was like, before I start posting board flips, I'm gonna buy as many as possible that I believe, are in good condition, cool colorways, and are just good prices. And so at one point I had like 35 board flips, different sizes, different colorways, you know, and yeah, and then I think like my first kind of board flip post was in 2023. And then like 2 months later, Pharrell got to LV or something like that. And I was like, damn, like I hit it on the nail again.
Yeah,
uh,
man. Wow.
yeah. And yeah, and eventually all these board flips sold. I sold like 6 or 7 pairs to Lil Yachty. I sold, I don't remember any other like cool, but yeah, it's just cool to kind of bring these pairs from me discovering it to then having other people discover them, and in the process, um, obviously make a living off of it, but also connect with cool collectors and celebrities and passionate people, and just it's just a really fun way of kind of playing the game for me. So board flips, yeah, that's how it started.
Yeah, I think board flips are a
True.
great shoe to kind of be able to do that with as well, because they're kind of a playful shoe in themselves with all the different kind of colorways and stuff like that. And also, like you say, finding them at the right price point can be done fairly easily if you know where
Yeah,
to look. Because, like you
yeah,
say, they over the years they've had those kind of peaks and troughs, and they've picked up a little bit again recently because obviously we've seen the LV stuff, the influencer being talked about a little bit more in our kind of
Yeah.
our
yeah,
world and our sort of sphere. But for many years,
yeah,
yeah, you could pick them up dirt cheap. You could
mm,
pick them up for free almost, basically. People just
yeah.
giving them away.
Literally,
Um,
literally.
yeah,
And same, it was the same for dunks before the dunk hype. And when I started getting into dunks, right before the hype, um, yeah, I was buying old dunks from like 2003, 2005 for like 20 pounds, sometimes 50 pounds.
Yeah, man. Good
It's like,
times.
yeah, yeah, crazy. But now we're kind of back. We're kind of back, to be
True.
honest. Like now you can once again find old dunks for dirt cheap because the market has been completely over flooded and people are just kind of over it again. So yeah,
yes,
Yeah.
the sneaker space is in a weird space at the moment.
yeah,
I feel I was watching this week's kind of complex sneakers podcast where they were talking about it and stuff, and I think Dennis, you follow a friend of mine over here in Finland, Getting ZZ on Instagram, who was running the New Room store over
oh
here,
yes,
and
yes, yes, yes,
yeah, they recently closed down, unfortunately,
yes,
just because the way the
I saw.
market is and stuff.
Yep,
So yeah, it's happening to a lot of people out there, unfortunately, especially those with bricks and mortar places,
yeah,
which the guys over here had.
yeah,
And yeah, I think a lot of that is down to kind of oversaturation
yeah,
of a lot of things like dunks, for example. People then get a little bit tired of it. Everyone's got the same thing. It dies
yeah,
down a bit. Then hopefully we get some new blood, some new designs, some new collabs and things like that, and things kind of start to pick
exactly.
up again a little bit more soon.
I'm posting an essay, an open letter this week about why Nike and just the community should not want
Is this the
Grails to be
Jordans?
retroed.
Oh, okay.
Uh, no, just like
I saw your post recently
PlayStation,
about the kind of Jordan stuff in
the
the
SBs.
colorways and
Oh
things.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's kind of this in the same vein, but there's so many people who want Grails to be retroed. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but um, people that would surprise you, like a lot of OGs, a lot of Sean Witherspoon, Jeff Staple, like they're actually saying, let the people have them, let
Yeah.
people wear them, and I like that. I mean, you'll see my essay is a 2,000 word essay, so there's food for thought in there. But to me, it's the worst thing that can be done to to the culture because we're just, yeah, it's cool to own the pair, but what happens to the to the cultural value of the space in general when all these things just become normal, and we've seen what happened with dunks, and we've seen what happens with, I use this example as well, with like Kanye wanted to make Yeezys available to everybody, but the day they became available to everybody, nobody wanted Yeezys anymore. So,
Yeah.
you can't want to have everything and then expect it to still be special. So, yeah, Nike has to do a better job, but I think the sneaker community has to do a better job as well.
Yeah,
Rafa,
true.
Jeff's a friend of yours. Maybe you can have a word next time you bump into him.
Yeah. Oh, I actually asked him about like, oh, what are you guys thinking about like retroing the the pigeons, the NSV pigeons? And he said, oh, I'm just waiting for Nike to contact me.
Man,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah, and I get what you mean, Dennis. Like I'm
it's
probably more
it's
on your
it's
side than any other. Like it's great that I think newer generations get the opportunity to kind of own these kind of iconic pieces, but at the same time, it devalues what all the stuff that happened before. I feel.
yeah, but the old generation didn't get to enjoy it either. They made 150 pairs of them.
Yeah, yeah,
So it was never meant to be enjoyed by the people. It was meant to be enjoyed as a grail, and there's 150 people in the world who own it, and those who own it, they've either invested their time, effort, money, whatever it is, to own them. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I think it's different for general releases. Of course, retro and OG Jordan. There's no question about it. It was made to be enjoyed by the mainstream public. But when an undefeated Jordan 4 was made in 72 units, it you know it it's just, if it was made for the masses, it wouldn't have been 72 pairs. So to me, like, yeah.
And I heard
yeah,
today
true.
the latest rumors is going to be what is there, sort of 30,000-40,000 pairs if they redo those undefeateds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, so the poor people that, like you say, have, and a lot of people have invested a lot of time and money in
Yeah.
obtaining the OG ones. A lot of that's out the window straight away,
mm.
Yeah.
unfortunately. If they do
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
But I
Yeah.
mean, it's the market, right? Like he's investing. Like you can lose money and gain money.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
normal.
but it's not even about the money.
Oh
It's
yeah,
it's
I
it's
get it.
it's it's not even about the money. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to think like you, and I think, and I still think some, because, for example, like the NRC pigeons, for example, like I don't think they should retroway that one because it's so in the past. Like it's been like 20 years already, so it's okay. But when people start to bitching about like sneakers that are being retro 5 years, like every 5 years they retroing, people not even paying attention. Like for example, the breads they just released it. Like it was released last time, I think it was like 10,
2016.
yeah.
2016.
So it's 9 years. So it's not that
Yeah.
much of a time. So why are
Yeah.
you talking about, like, why are you bitching about like this retroing like that? Because they're going to do it eventually in 8 years or 9 years again. So, but when it comes to such a pair like the pigeons, and it's been like 20 years, like just leave it alone. Like,
Yeah, and again, I think if we do want to get a new generation involved, make a new version of that shoe. Don't just
Yeah,
exactly.
retro it. And to
Yes.
me, like, that's, you create something new, you get a new generation involved, you actually keep original collectors invested as well because they actually want to go out and get the new version as well.
Yeah.
Um, and everyone's happy. You're preserving the aura of the original. You're not,
Yeah.
and that's what the Lobster Dunks series has done, and that's why it's also so successful. Uh,
Yeah.
if they just retroed the Red Lobster 10 years after it released, I mean, this series would be dead by now. Like, there would just keep adding new things to it, and everybody's
Mm.
happy. Like, to me, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, true.
So would you want to see, or would you be interested in a retro, and it's never going to happen, although there have been rumors from certain people, of an ice cream boutique? Because this is something we
uh,
talk about regularly, and have very, at times mixed and at times strong opinions on.
I've heard rumors as well,
I know there are
and
prototypes out there.
yeah, and board flip prototypes as well that are different than
Yeah.
the original, and that don't look as good, to be honest.
Mm.
um I I think, I don't know, like, I think it would be, if they made like a super limited new, like, special boutique, which would really then, because it's so limited, it would only it would only get like people who really know and care, like they'd get involved. But if you mass produce a boutique right now, I think it would be a shame, because I don't think that the market needs it right now. Like, just, I think that it would just sit if you mass produce a boutique
Oh
right
yeah,
now,
Oh, it
and that
would,
would be
yeah.
a shame. And that would be a shame.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you make like 500 pairs that only release in the BBC shops across the world, like each BBC shop gets 50 pairs, and it's like I don't know, reverse Colette or whatever, or the OG, the white and red one, and you just like flip it somehow, make it a bit different, but it still has that feel, and you make it limited and special. I think that could be fun. But don't mass produce it. I think it's kind
Yeah.
of in the past as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. No, I think we saw that a few years back when they did the additional Reebok collaboration
Oh my
for
God.
whatever their bizarre reason was to go
Oh
and
my
do that.
God. That
I've
was
got a pair
so
over
bad.
there, and yeah, and I
Me
did like a
too.
video review of them, and as a pair of shoes for €100, they went kind of above and beyond with the packaging and stuff like that. Not quite at OG levels, but better than what you would normally get for a
Yeah,
pair of
yeah,
shoes.
yeah, yeah.
Values, value wise, decent shoe, and for me the lows looked okay. The highs I think looked terrible. Those diamond and dollar ones,
Horrible.
really bad.
Yeah.
And then they also then put out is it the zigzags ones, and what's the other one? The basketball shoes as
The
well. The
Iversons?
Other
Iversons,
orphans.
yes,
Yeah.
with obviously the board flip colorways and stuff. And now in China
Yeah.
only, they're doing the Chinese collaborations as well out there with BBC, and a lot of it, yeah, is just sitting, because it's one of those things where for a normal consumer, why has that shoe got dollars and diamonds all over it in weird colors? Why is it why
Yeah.
is it bright why is it bright green and pink? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then for us, it's just like, oh, it's just a poor man's version of an original
Yeah.
thing that we
Yeah.
love, and
Yeah.
especially
So
the fact
lazy.
that the original boutiques are still actually holding up okay after
Yeah.
20 years,
Yeah.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm of the same opinion. I think, if they did do them, if they could sort out their internal issues and licensing issues and whatnot with Reebok and other people, and they did, yeah, very, very limited runs of designs that was slightly different,
Yeah.
then I think that could potentially do quite well.
Yeah. Just to meet, even just use as a kind of marketing thing for BBC in general. It doesn't have to be about the shoe, but just making BBC a bit more cool again. Like, it's. I think they've done a decent job in recent months. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I've seen, or maybe it's just me, but I feel like BBC has had a good year in terms of marketing and
It's
relevance.
Yeah, I'd
I
say
don't know.
that the US side of things, marketing wise, I would say yes. Design wise, I'm
Yeah,
still not massively keen on a lot of it, and I know obviously
yeah,
they've got Brandine back there now as well, leading the design stuff. So hopefully he's got some more new collections coming out soon, and he'll be on the podcast soon, hopefully. EU, now I know you know the EU guys as well. We know Ross and those guys there. I from an overall worldwide marketing perspective, I think the EU guys are keeping the brand alive, basically. The EU
Mm,
stuff is the only stuff people really seem to care about at the moment.
Yeah.
And they've had their trials and tribulations the last sort of few years. Obviously, they've been sold. They've
mm,
become, the luxury arm of the brand, so it's higher price points but nicer material. And I think they're still trying to find where they really kind of fit in terms of those price points and how who they're marketing to, because you see that with the difference between that they've still got with the BBC, and then completely redoing ice cream stuff. 3-4 years ago they took everything ice cream off the shelves, ditched it completely, and they were like,
really?
right, back to
Yeah.
basics. Yeah. So if I think
Really?
4 years ago, 5 years ago roughly, if you went into the BBC store, US not so much, but here definitely EU, they stopped selling all ice cream stuff, took it off the website, took it out the stores, and they
Yeah.
just said, right, yeah, we're going back to basics,
Mm,
back to scratch. Let's see what we want to do with
I think
this.
in the US also.
They may well have done, yeah. Japan, I think they did as
Yeah.
well. So
True.
it's been interesting to see what they've done with that side of the brand. But I don't know, like there's to me the brands are so interlocked in my mind, but I don't think they don't market them very well together. Even though they're sold on
yeah,
one
it's
website, one web store, there's still a
yeah,
weird
it's
disconnect.
it is, it
I
is.
find it's
Mm.
Yeah.
not cohesive, let's say.
Yeah, I mean they're it's like BBC Ice Cream, but it's they're so different
Mm,
independently. Like yeah, ice cream is so it has that playful, colorful aspect to it, and BBC is actually not colorful. Like
hmm
it's I don't know how to describe it, but it's such a different vibe. It's interesting that they, you know,
It's more chic.
coexist. Yes, yes, it's
Yeah.
like streetwear chic. Yeah,
But I also think
yeah,
it's because it's missing the link between the brands, which was Pharrell. Because Pharrell was doing all these different things, like he was doing like the chic streetwear, and he was also doing
yeah,
the skater streetwear.
yeah,
So he was the link between the brands, and now he's not.
yeah, yeah,
And I think even back in the day, you had the BBC stuff, which was meant to be the more limited quantities, exclusive, and then obviously you had ice cream, which Reebok was meant to produce and never got around to actually doing because the deal fell apart and they ended up all suing each other.
yeah,
That may have helped if they'd had somebody like Reebok behind them, helping them do leisure wear and really differentiated
yeah.
it in that way. But because that
Mm.
deal never happened, ice cream
They
just
still
always kind of
produce the
ran
shoes
along.
though. They still
They
produce
did,
the
yeah, they did
shoes.
the shoes,
Yeah,
yes, and then after that,
yeah.
ice
That
cream
whole
was already being
clothing. Yeah.
yeah, ice cream was already being produced by a vape factory, and they were meant to move it across to a Reebok factory, and Reebok were going to run
Mm.
it basically. And I think if they'd had that and really differentiated properly there, that brand is luxury streetwear. This stuff is your athletic wear, your casual
Yeah,
wear, and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Then it might have been okay, but because that deal never happened, it kind of floundered, and they bounced back and forth with their focuses. And I think Ice Cream has some classic designs and amazing graphics, but it never really got the love that I think it really
Mm.
deserved. And then it became one of those things where you just saw like ice cream t-shirts in TK Maxx for like, £10 or whatever. And
Really?
and obviously, yeah, definitely.
Wow.
BBC also, when they were going through their financial troubles a number of years back, they changed their licensing deal as well. So basically, you used to have to be like a boutique of, you have to have a reputation. You had to almost prove to them that you were like worthy of selling BBC and ice cream
Yeah,
clothing in
yeah,
your
yeah.
boutique. But when the brand got sold, they changed it, and like every department store in the US had BBC and ice cream stuff. And
Mm.
obviously,
Yeah.
that's where it started to really go downhill, and they really had their problems. Obviously, they've brought
Mm.
that back a little bit now, but it is still a bit like that in the US, unfortunately, because also
Yeah.
you can't necessarily get out of all those deals, which is, I think, why they've done this whole operating model by separating out Japan and Asia and Europe, and letting them run independently effectively. And obviously, we've now seen the JD Sports deal with BBC EU, and obviously the stores closed down, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it's just the brands aren't cohesive, and then you've also got the disparity between the different regions and different stores as well, which I don't think helps the general consumer. People like us, I think we're fine with it, because I know that if I want, the really nice BBC stuff, I'll go to BBC EU. If I want the quirky, real high quality, beautifully made, I go to Japan. If I want the more generic type stuff and the mass market pieces, I'll go to the US. But I think for the general consumer and people coming into this brand, it just looks a mess, because you look on one site and a t-shirt is $30. You look on another site and it's pushing $100, and there's no real reason why.
Yeah, true.
But are you a BBC consumer anyway, Dennis? Do you buy and wear their stuff?
Like I've bought no. Like the short answer is no. I've bought two ice cream T-shirts, and a couple of years ago, when I got into it and I just like discovered these color palettes, and I was just like, I need that green and pink. I need, what I mean, that the ice cream logo and stuff. But I'm not like, I don't consume ice cream like that. No, but I appreciate, like, it's cool to see, I enjoy seeing, um, seeing ice cream being worn. I don't know, for some reason it's just I wear my pair of board flips that I have, just one, personal, and that's it. Yeah, I'm a poser.
That's right, we all are to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And going back again, just to kind of pique my own curiosity, were you a fan of kind of like Pharrell, Neptune's, N.E.R.D and stuff before you were introduced to kind of board flips and were aware of how that all kind of tied in? Or again, did it just kind of come up through the
Yeah,
shoes?
it came through more so the sneaker side of things. Obviously, I was aware and everything, but no, I never had a specific love for Pharrell and Neptunes and N.E.R.D and everything, or much knowledge, to be honest. And that's why I told you as well, like, I'm not a big music guy, so I won't have much interesting input on if we got into the music aspect of things. I think, yeah, my kind of angle to the culture in general came from sneakers and streetwear, um, and just discovering, the importance and these different eras through, Nigo and Pharrell and that hip hop era of Reebok in the 2000s, and all of this appeal. That's what kind of fed into my love for that era. Like, I love Sean Carter's, not because I'm a Jay-Z fan, but because I just think it's a cool little pocket of sneaker history.
It's a weird
And
little pocket of sneaker history.
yeah. But Reebok, I mean, like, if you think about it, they were ahead of their time and killing it back then. If you think about it, they had
True.
all the, what now we see. Nike have the J Balvins and the Travises and the Drakes and everything. They had all these guys in the 2000s before it was even a thing.
Yeah, even Kanye, right?
Kanye, there were samples. They tried to get him, and eventually it didn't work out, which also was an amazing little pocket of history that I discovered through an old Reebok designer and Don C as well.
Yeah, true.
They basically, just for the little kind of side note, basically, Kanye had this brand, what was it called?
Pastel?
Um,
Pastel.
no, the
No,
other
before
one,
that, yeah,
mascot.
mascot. True.
Yeah, which turns out that, from what Don C told me, it was what's this you know hip hop mogul from Rockefeller? What's his name?
Dame
Uh,
Dash.
no, the other one. um,
Oh,
This when everyone's mind goes blank and we're meant to be fucking music fans. But yes, I know who you mean.
anyways, one of these guys, he was kind of pushing on, apparently he was kind of pushing on that brand on Kanye. Kanye was already kind of dreaming about the LVs and like like something bigger and more elevated. And the mascot thing was more like a merch brand almost. And basically, it was existing. It existed for a while, and they tried to put together a mascot X Reebok collab. So obviously, mascot is Kanye, but it wasn't like Kanye West collab. It was, with that college dropout bear logo.
The bear, yeah.
Yeah, which is the mascot logo. And essentially, those Sean Carter samples that I actually have all 4 colorways as well, which
wow.
is also one of my favorite shoes that I've been able to acquire and own. Um, they they were actually not designed by Kanye West at all, although they do have like you could think, because the color palette is quite Kanye, especially the pink and yellow pair. But it turns out that Kanye went to the Reebok like headquarters or archive or whatever it was, with his crew. So Don C was there, and they just showed him some existing prototypes, and he just liked those 4 colorways. And Reebok printed 24 pairs of each colorway with the mascot, with the bear on the heel. So just as a kind of like getting him involved, getting like as a sign of like, yo, like we want to work with you. But Kanye didn't design them, and uh and he wanted to make his own Reebok shoe, which was a mix between an Adidas ZX whatever, which is a classic Adidas model, an Air Max 90, and the LV that was popular at the time, which kind of looks like a Sean Carter, kind of, that
Mm.
LV. And he wanted to make so that an old Reebok designer sent me the files of all these, the mock-ups and like the inspiration, the mood board and everything, showing the different panels that he's borrowing from the different shoes. And Don C told me that when that kind of design was made, Kanye basically told his crew one day, like, I want you guys to each design. By the end of the day, I want to see 10 colorways from each of you. So they were just sitting and drawing, like coloring this silhouette, you know, and eventually the Reebok deal never happened. I mean, Kanye apparently was never too keen on it, so it didn't end up happening. But the shoe, Reebok made a few samples of the shoe, which exist. There is there is an actual sample of that Kanye shoe that exists.
Mm.
And because they had already produced the molds and everything, they went ahead and released the sneaker to the public with different colorways, not the Kanye colorways, but it's the same sneaker, and it was called the Round the Way. That was the name of the sneaker, Round the Way.
Oh,
And they released it, and when Kanye realized that Reebok basically stole his design and released it, he kind of, well, he went after them, and they pulled it out of the market. So
oh,
it was on the market for maybe a few weeks, and basically there's a few pairs hanging around, and I managed to find one colorway that I have, and I still haven't posted it and everything because I want to like do the storytelling properly. But basically, it was technically the first ever Kanye designed shoe. And when I showed that sneaker to Don C, who came, he came by to my place in London and everything, and he was like, "Yes, I know what this is," and he
I
told me
remember
this whole
that one.
story. Yeah. And apparently
Amazing.
Kanye never really cared about those Sean Carters, and they were Don C told me he had dozens of pairs at his house just because Kanye didn't want them and they were kind of whatever. So, there's a whole mystique around these Kanye Reebok samples, which I love as well. But truthfully, Kanye didn't even ever care about them. Yeah.
I certainly look
Yeah,
forward to seeing and hearing you tell the story in a bit more detail when you get around to it, because that'll be great to hear more about.
Yeah.
sure.
Is that one you might do a video for at some point?
Probably. Although I'm always kind of better with the text format. I'm more comfortable, but maybe I'll do a reel. I don't know. We'll see.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Do it.
Just in the interest of time, should we just talk about some of the latest news stories we've got from the last couple of weeks, and then Dennis, you can escape us then. So a couple of bits I had here. Most of them are actually sneaker related, luckily. We talked previously about the Pharrell Adidas jellyfish, which they've kind of formally announced. We now know it's going to be out in the autumn at some point, with a price point of a slightly whopping, although I kind of get it, $280. So what does that translate to? About £320 and euros, roughly, something like that, around that
Wait, if
mark.
it's $280, it would be more like 250 pounds.
Oh, would it? Okay.
Yeah.
Luckily, you're here to do the conversions for me. Still a hefty price point, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, for
sure.
sure.
Again, a pair that I didn't like when I first saw them. They look quite chunky, but they have grown on me over the last sort of few weeks as we've seen sort of more of them, and we've seen the press shots and things like that. Are you a fan of them at all, Dennis? They something you would buy or look to get?
Big no. Big no.
Big no.
Big
Oh,
no. I mean, to begin with, for context, I not a Adidas guy. That's number one. But even beyond, even if it was a Nike, I really don't like. It looks like a Balenciaga Triple S. I don't
I
know.
yes,
mean,
that's what
yeah,
we've said. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I told Steve like if it was like 5 years ago, okay, it made sense, but damn, you're kind of late.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah. For real. Like nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once we get a bit nearer the release date and we see more of them kind of on feet with other people, not just underneath
I don't know.
Pharrell's flares, then I'll
Yeah.
take a closer look. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
Mm.
I'm
I mean
still on the fence.
to my defense, not even bringing Adidas into it, I like the Superstar chunky, that
Oh,
Pusha
the
T.
other one.
Perfect
Yeah,
segue.
I think that's interesting. I think it's bulky, but I don't know. It's something new. This jellyfish thing, big no. But yeah, Superstars, go for
So
it.
yeah, Superstar 92s. Yep, they're going to come out on the 1st of March. We are recording this on the 25th of February, so it's in about a week's time. $200. Again, first saw these, bit too chunky for me, but the clips kind of press kit that's come out recently in the promotion that they're doing with them, the black pair with the yellow laces, they hit.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
liking
agreed,
those.
agreed. Yeah,
So yeah, I think they might be a pair that I do look into getting if we get a sensible release
yeah,
price and everything in euros over here, and I can get hold of them.
yeah.
What else have we got? Something else I just noticed the other day in a recent purchase from my side. If you've missed out on some of the recent Pharrell Adidas items, so the leather Sambas, the Marbs, and the S1 Reacts, if you go to adidas.com/Pharrell, some of them have been re-upped in the last week. And they're classing them as new items, although they're not new, they're reissues or re-ups, but they are all at half price, which shocked me slightly. The S1 Reacts, they have the indigo and pink version, which I don't think previously got a general release. I think there are a few pairs floating about, but they never got a proper release. So those are available at half price. So I grabbed a pair of those because I do quite like those. The Marbs, they had one colorway, which might have been the pink colorway. Again, they were half price. And all of the Samba colorways were re-upped, but I don't think those were discounted. But yeah, if you had been after a pair previously, or you're in the market for the kind of Marbs or the Reacts, yeah, you can go and check those out and get a bit of a bargain. What have you thought of the Pharrell Adidas stuff over the last few years? I know you're not an Adidas guy, but any of those kinds of things interesting, like the Reacts and the Marbs and stuff like that?
Honestly, which ones are those? I'm not even too sure.
That's a big no, then, isn't it?
I think
Exactly.
yeah, I don't know. Is it the human race stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
It's
done
like, is
under
it the
human
green
race.
pair, that green glow, like super flashy pair,
So you've got
super
like the
futuristic.
Marb ones, which have got like, oh, what's the material like? I'm trying to think how
Wait,
to
let
kind
me
of
see.
if you
How do
Google
you
it,
spell it?
yeah,
Marbs?
Mahbs, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I've always said Marbs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I actually, okay, yeah, I actually like like how these look, to be honest. Yeah, I remember seeing those. No, I think those are interesting from a design perspective. I think they're not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're out at half price, and those
Mm.
those did not sell when they came out over the last sort of few
I
years. So I've picked
Yeah,
pairs up at outlet as well for
yeah.
60-70%
Mm.
off.
But it's
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
different, I think. Yeah. Yeah, for me, it feels like it looks like I don't know, futuristic Timberland, something like that, you know?
I don't know, or like a more chunky NMD human race, kind of like the extension of that. I don't know. I think it's
Yeah.
just maybe bad timing. I don't know, because the human race, the NMDs, were killer back then. Like in
Hmm.
when
Yeah,
was it? 2017, something like that. 2018,
Yeah.
yeah,
2017 probably more like. But yeah, now obviously it's over. So I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Adidas killed that one.
Yeah.
And then I guess one final piece of Pharrell related news: the musical that was recently wrapped up filming was originally called Atlantis. They then changed the name to Golden. It was loosely based on Pharrell's life story. They, as I say, they wrapped up production. They hit post production, and the whole thing has been completely scrapped. In agreement with all of the kind of production and direction crew. Quite a surprise. They've put a lot of money into this. Must be, I don't want to speculate on what's going on kind of in the background and why it would get scrapped at such a late stage. Part of me thinks that maybe the fact that Piece by Piece didn't really perform all that well and made about, at least a $6 million loss at the box
Really?
office. Yeah, that probably plays a
Yeah,
part into it. I think,
Mm.
if you can't make your money back on a Lego movie of someone's life, are you really going to make your money back on a musical version of their life? Yeah.
Uh,
I
yeah,
think they may have been
I agree.
overreaching with the appeal of Pharrell's life story.
I thought it was a bit random to release two movies in such close succession.
Yeah,
I don't
very,
know.
very much
100%.
so.
Especially about the same person. Like, what?
And also it's for like it's not like, Pharrell died and like two producing companies decide to make a biopic on him. It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
Pharrell doing a movie about himself. I don't know, it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the feeling that it didn't hit the mark they wanted it to hit, and then they kind of also looked at the success or not
Yeah.
success or failure or whatever you want to call it of the Lego movie, and they were just like, it's not worth us pumping more marketing money into it, more production, post production money into it, and And I can imagine Pharrell's probably pretty tired of all of the kind of
Yeah.
movie promotion stuff because he
Yeah.
really put a lot into that piece by piece
He
promotional run
tried.
for a few months.
Yeah. What did you guys enjoy the movie? The
I
Lego
enjoyed the
movie?
movie, yeah.
A lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it, man. Yeah.
As a
I think
movie,
I
it was
watched it like
decent.
3 times already.
For real?
Yeah, man.
Damn.
I mean, because I'm a huge fan of the music, so
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
his
Yeah. Yeah.
discography is all
Yeah.
on the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like I feel like it's like a huge music video of
That's true.
his
That's
life
true.
and his music, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very good.
Yeah.
I don't
One
know
of
if you
my
saw it, but it's very good.
I saw it, yeah. One of my favorite parts, just like little details, was that they included the Orchard Street T-shirt on Jay-Z for the fronting
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
clip. That was, to me,
Such a
that
detail.
was amazing. You know, that
Yeah,
that
true, true.
they cared enough to do that. They could have just made him wear a yellow T-shirt, but they put the actual logo, and
Yeah.
that's to me, like, that's amazing. You know, and
Yeah,
that clip was just so iconic, uh for because it was that they premiered the ice cream BBC on that clip, right?
Yeah.
And Jay-Z is wearing that Orchard Street T-shirt, which became iconic after that. And Orchard Street is kind of iconic in sneaker culture as well because of their dunks
true.
and that logo. um One of my personal favorites, kind of you know, sneaker stories as well. uh and yeah, that OS is everything, so yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I told a lot of our friends, I told also to Steve that Lego have released the fronting video set, you know? That would be
As a
awesome,
as a
you
Skate
know?
ramp
Lego.
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that is
like
that is a good idea. That is a very
that
good
would be
idea.
awesome for the brand. It
Yes,
would, I think it
yes,
would be better for the movie
yes.
and
I
especially
agree.
for us, for the fans.
Yeah, no, that's a actually really good idea. Yeah.
From my understanding, following a few Lego people and stuff, they did prototype that. Um,
Mm,
so they did obviously the rocket that they released. They had different versions of that, but then they also picked out different scenes and sets from throughout the movie as well. And one of them was like a house backdrop with the ramp in it. And then you had all, yeah, obviously him, and then different sort of skateboards and stuff. And so, yeah, it was prototyped. But yeah, I wish we'd got more merchandise
mm.
with the movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got the one Lego set,
Yeah, true.
then the small BBC collaboration, which wasn't
Mm.
great to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
And that was kind of it, really. They could have,
Yeah.
they could have done a bit more with the merch, but hey ho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are running out of time, so I want to kind of just wrap it up. But first or lastly, Dennis, I just want to know what you're excited about in terms of releases and stuff this year. Is there anything you're, particularly waiting for this year? I'll go first with
Mm.
my one. The Nigel
Go.
Sylvester Brick by Brick Jordan 4s that come out in a month or two's time. Very much looking forward to those.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
Maybe you
think I
go,
will.
Rafa.
Yeah,
Keep thinking,
I
keep
would
thinking.
say, yeah, I would say that one also, but I think I'm more looking for the Sarah Berry's collaboration with New Balance. I think this the 991
The purple
is
ones
going to
that
be,
they.
yeah, the purple ones. Yeah,
Mm,
that looks very good. And right
mm,
now, Saleh for me is like my favorite sneaker designer right now. So yeah, I'm looking for that one.
okay.
If there's not one you're looking forward to, what have you got recently that you've enjoyed picking up?
Recently, well, I gotta shout out Kids of Immigrants.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice, man.
yeah. I think, I- like, I don't buy a lot of current releases because it just doesn't feel. Uh, I was never around for the OG days, but I'm always kind of looking for that special feeling. I don't, like we kind of all do, but it's just hard to get now. So how I deal with it is just buying vintage stuff. So I rarely buy like current releases, but that Kids of Immigrants release felt perfect with both like on the cultural feel of it. It felt, it felt very authentic. It was well made. The design is amazing. The colorway. So I don't know. It just resonated with me. So I got. I technically got both colorways, but I think I'm just gonna keep the purple one. I don't need the orange one.
Yeah.
So they didn't release in Europe, and I got them when they dropped on Kids of Immigrants, like mid-December. So I got them in Europe like before Christmas, and the orange pair hadn't even released in Europe. So
Yeah.
I was wearing the purple pair. It's a neck breaker, and like it's you rarely get that with sneakers now. And like people, I got a lot of people when I would go, like I was walking around in central Paris or like London, or go into a sneaker or streetwear shop, and people would be like, yo, like what are these? And that's cool as well, because I think Kids of Immigrants is niche enough, that whole collab was niche enough for the mainstream not to know what it is. So that's
Exactly.
why I think that's why it also felt special. So yeah, that one um, stands out for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that those sneakers were very popular among the sneakerheads from the internet, because if you talk about with
Yeah,
sneakerheads from the streets, I don't know, the
yeah,
offline, they don't know about it. They
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. So that's that's
Yeah.
rare now. It's rare. So
Yeah,
love
exactly.
it.
It's
Yeah,
for the sneakerhead geeks, that one.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah,
it's going to be awesome to see the story of these sneakers. I don't know, from 5 or 10 years from now. It's going to be
yeah,
like legendary for
yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. And there's another one coming out very, very soon. Kids of Immigrants, Sundermax.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Keep
it's
my
like a
eyes peeled for that.
gray and red pair. So yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up there. Dennis, it's been great talking to you. We really appreciate you coming on and telling some of these stories and giving your insights. We'd love to get you back one day to chat some more, if
For
at all
sure. Thank
possible.
Cool.
you. For sure. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to talk, like kind of taking that angle of Pharrell ice cream and everything. It's not like the usual uh, you know, conversations that I have, so it's cool to share with as passionate and knowledgeable people. So thank you.
We appreciate that, and
Cool,
it's
man.
good. It's good for us to get like a kind of outsider's view on some of this stuff as well. Because obviously, a lot of people we have on the podcast, we're all fucking Pharrell stans. You know, we're all like, we love you, Pharrell.
Yeah.
We love you. So it's nice. It's nice to have that kind of perspective of somebody that isn't, that's
Yeah,
obviously a fan, but not, an idiot like
yeah.
us,
From
basically,
a and
from a
just from a
distance.
different angle as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
most
Exactly.
yeah.
definitely. Cool. Well, all right, let's wrap it up there. Everyone, you can find the show notes and all the information about what we've talked about over on the website, theothers.net. You can go to /about as well if you want my social media and Rafa's social media links, although you can normally find him at SneakerDenn. And Dennis, where can the people of the internet find yourself if they want to come and give you a follow and see what you're up to?
So SneakerDenn I'm most active on Instagram, but you can check out my YouTube as well. Like you mentioned, there's a Pharrell sneaker history video, which is really cool. And then I have a brand as well called Outsole, where I tribute, take inspiration from sneaker history and culture to create new designs, but with always a little familiar touch. So check that out as well.
Oh,
Nice.
two sneaker fans that both take classic designs and make their own thing from it. It's almost as if you two people should talk and collaborate on something.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I'll leave
Let's
that
do
to
it.
you. But yeah, anyway, thank you for that, Dennis. Much appreciated, mate.
Yeah, man.
Thank you,
Thanks so much.
everybody, for listening. We will hopefully be back in a couple of weeks' time if our schedules allow it, because we are a week late this time, as we always seem to be. But yeah, other than that, thank you, everybody. Take care and bye bye.
Peace.
Bye bye, guys. Peace.
Uh-huh.